Now we're covering a pretty ambitious title for the original DS, The Legend of Zelda: The Phantom Hourglass. Tetra and company are investigating a mysterious ghost ship which seems to be capturing other ships and causing them to disappear. And after finding the ship, Tetra jumps on board looking for its treasure, and the ghost ship starts to set sail without them, so Link grabs onto the side in pursuit, but is knocked loose. Link then wakes up on a mysterious island. Soon after this, he meets up with a ship captain named Linebeck, and from then onwards you sail from area to area trying to eventually get Tetra back. The gameplay involves a lot of pretty standard Legend of Zelda fare, where you go from dungeon to dungeon, solving puzzles, getting keys, and then defeating the dungeon boss, often with the help of a special piece of equipment that you get from the dungeon itself. The biggest detriment, in my opinion, when it comes to this game is actually how it controls. So how it works is you move a fairy around on the screen with the stylus to make Link walk there, swipe it quickly to make him swing his sword, draw a circle around him to use a spin attack, or tap on a monster to make him stab at it. The problem with this is that it feels really imprecise and has a very large margin for error. If they had made Link move around using the D-pad, which is coincidentally used for nothing in this game, then I think everything else would have been fine. The puzzles in the dungeons you visit typically aren't that great either, most being incredibly basic, although occasionally they did throw something pretty interesting in. That being said though, even with the occasional high points, the dungeons were mostly forgettable except for the main one, but that's for mostly the wrong reasons. Every time you return to the Temple of the Ocean King, which you have to do after completing each of the main dungeons, you then have to work your way through several floors that you've already visited and redo all of the traps and puzzles to reach the new areas. The old man Oshu who keeps popping up is actually the spirit of the Ocean King in a human form. He took this form after his temple was invaded by the big bad of this game named Bellum. To defeat Bellum, you need something called the Phantom Sword. After getting the 3 rare medals, the sword is reforged, and then Oshu imbues it with the power of the Phantom Hourglass. You then have to work your way through the Temple of the Ocean King once again, and finally face off against Bellum himself. This fight has more different forms than I can count, and while I did find it rather lengthy, I did like that it forced you to use various different items and mechanics that were taught to you throughout the game, even if some of them didn't work the best. So there are flashes of inspiration where Phantom Hourglass becomes really fun, where the controls line up well with the puzzles and obstacles they have put before you, and you can totally see what they were going for. But unfortunately, this accounted for maybe 15% of my play experience overall. The rest of the time is spent constantly backtracking and repeating the same dungeon over and over, slowly sailing around endlessly, and doing tons of mini-games that for the most part just aren't very fun. And while I do admire this game's ambition, I think it was held back a lot by the hardware that it was on, and a desire to prioritize using all of the different features of the DS, as opposed to focusing on just what would make for a fun game.